You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, folks. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate having you guys on the show and being a part of it as well. As always, the show that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law does, because she never does you anyway, and we all know that. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing author on the show. She's a multi-book author and has written some amazing stories, and she's going to blow your mind with her latest one that she's come out with. It's coming up November 21st, 2023. You'll be able to pre-order it and get it hot off the presses when it comes out. Be the first in the book club to read it as well. It's under editor's pick is best mystery, thriller, and suspense, which is what we call Fridays around here at the Chris Voss Show. In the meantime, we just encourage you to go to referring your friends, family, neighbors, relatives. Just stop people on the street and say, have you subscribed to the Chris Voss Show? That might not be a good thing to do, like in places like New York. But if you're in a nice, homely place, like, I don't know, Montana or something, it might be okay to stop and say that. If you ask nicely, people will do whatever you say, I think, pretty much. Tell them to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one on the Tickety Talkety, and ChrisVossFacebook.com. She is the author of the newest book, as we aforementioned. November 21st, 23 is coming out. There Should Have Been 8. Oh boy, that's a cliffhanger of a title. By Nalini Singh. She joined us on the show to talk about her latest book. She was born in Fiji and raised in New Zealand. She spent 3 years living and working in Japan, where she took the chance to travel around Asia. She now lives in New Zealand and is always plotting new trips, and probably new trips with her book. If you'd like to see some of her travel snapshots, you can look at her travel diary page. She's worked as a lawyer, a librarian, a candy factory general hand, a bank tech, an English teacher, but not necessarily in that order. Some might call that inconsistency, but I call it, or she calls it, grist for the writer's mill. That's the one thing about authors and writers. It's their great life stories and things that they go through life who can help shape them, where they can pull great subject data and plots and twists and characters, et cetera, et cetera. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on your show, Chris.
Thanks for coming, Nalini. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
So the best place is my website, nalinisingh.com. On social media, I am on Instagram and Facebook under author Nalini Singh. I do have a Twitter handle, but I haven't been active on there for a few years, so it's not a great place to chat to me. But Facebook and Instagram, I am on there quite regularly.
There you go. And you have quite the epic authorship going on. How many books do you have?
I think it's over 50. I actually have to count.
Holy crap. And it covers a lot of different genres, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I started with straight contemporary romance. So this year is actually my 20th anniversary in publishing in terms of my published books. So my very first book was published in 2003. Wow. And so I started in straight contemporary romance. Then I moved into paranormal romance, urban fantasy romance, and now I also write straight thrillers based in New Zealand. So I've got 3 of them now, which you can see behind me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thrillers. Now, are these all standalones for the most part?
Yes, these are all standalones. I'm known for writing long series in romance, and my brain is full of series, so I decided to write just standalone thrillers and challenge myself with that. And it's been really fun, just having just a self-contained world, within each book.
There you go. I even see on Amazon it's teasing out a blank, just text-based book cover here for your, I believe, your upcoming book in July 23, 2024, Primal Mirror.
Yes,
as well.
yes, that's part of my Side Changing series. So yeah, that's next year. Yeah.
You cover all the gambits. I'm looking down the list of your website when it says books, and it's got thrillers, Rock Kiss series, Hard Play series, audiobooks, international release, Silhouette Desire, printable book list. That's probably what I need at this point. So there you go. So what made you want to write this latest book? And tell us a 30,000 overview of what's inside.
So I love thrillers, first of all. I love thrillers and mysteries. And even in my romance, there's quite often a thread of mystery. And but this particular book and the previous 2 thrillers I've written is really deeply inspired by the New Zealand landscape. And it's very beautiful. And it has a lot of remote spaces, empty spaces. And I remember a few years ago, a bunch of us writers were having a conversation about why, you got Nordic noir, these sort of dark, grim mysteries set in the Nordic countries. Why not New Zealand noir? Because we kind of fill all the criteria. And so it's a little bit of that. But yeah, just definitely the environment deeply inspires me. This particular book is set in an alpine area that we travel through. And it's stunning. It's just astonishingly beautiful. All golden grasses, white snow-capped mountains, not a human in sight. And at one point we saw a sign for coffee. So we just turned off the road to check out this coffee place in the middle of nowhere, and it just kept going and going.
Never turn off the road. Never turn off the road.
And we're like, this is a horror movie right now. So that sort of really inspired me for this book, because I thought,
there you go.
What if you turned off and, what's at the end of the road? So this particular book is about a group of high school and university friends. So originally there were 8. And when they meet up for this sort of reunion, they're sort of in their late 20s. One is missing, and the whole story is what happened to the 8th one. What happened
to number 8? Yeah. Hence the title, There Should Have Been 8. Yeah, I learned not to drive down off the main road into back roads after I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Hey, there's a shortcut over there. No, just stay on the main road there, eh? That's always one of the themes of many horror movies. Stay on the main, never get off the main road. Never leave the pack either. So there you go. So as you delved into the book, how did you pick your characters? Why did you pick 7 teenagers, or 8 teenagers technically? What made you land on that number, maybe?
It just came very naturally. I had the protagonist, the main person whose eyes we see the story straight away. So she was just very, very strong character in my mind. And, the first line of the book is, "But I'm afraid of the dark." And then we find out that she's going blind. And
what?
Yeah. And she's afraid of the dark. So She was just this super powerful character. Emotionally, there's a lot there. And and then she just brought everyone along with her. Like, as I explored her, I just found these other people that were really important parts of her life. And we just ran with the story from there. And with my writing, I like to go a little bit into the dark and see where the characters take me.
Even though your character's afraid of the dark.
Yeah, so it was. I mean, this book has a little bit of a gothic element to it. They're in this ruined mansion. There's sort of creepy passageways and things going on in the walls. And the characters just all fit. They came together, and it just felt like a friend group that would exist. And
there you go. There. How do you feel like this book is departed or improved? Not to say that your writing needs improvement, but writers evolve and develop their work and their craft. How would you say this maybe differs from your other books?
I think in terms of my thrillers, I feel like I really hit my stride in the thriller space with this book. Like it feels very strongly a thriller. My very first one I wrote had, an element of romance in it. A very thin thread. It was mostly, suspense. And then the next one got more thrillerly. I'm just making up that word.
Thrillerly. Hey, poetic license. You can do what you want. You're an author.
Yeah. And I feel like with this book, I really hit the beats of the genre. It does have that sort of slowly creepy element. So it's not the kind of pulse pounding thriller. It's the kind of thriller where it builds slowly to a crescendo and then hopefully grips the reader by the throat. And yeah, my mum loves it. So
grips the reader by the throat. Wow, that's the first time I heard an author say that. So there you were going for it there. Basically.
I am going for it. Yeah. There's a few surprises in this book.
With no holding back. I love it. What you like setting areas in New Zealand and stuff. Was there any mansions that you'd seen in New Zealand that kind of flipped you onto this, or did you just kind of come up with it out of your head from coagulation of different experiences?
Yeah, it's more amalgamation. So it's not based on one particular building I saw. So I saw these beautiful sort of Victorian era type places or, very aged kind of buildings in very good condition. But I also saw some really sort of rundown, ruined structures in the backcountry. And I kind of amalgamated it all together. What if it was kind of ruined and nobody bothered to fix the burned section, but the other half is still habitable, and so they just decide to make an adventure out of it and stay in this place, in this really beautiful landscape, in this sort of mansion that has a very dark history because things happened in that fire that's marked the building. So yeah, it's taking pieces of what I see and putting it all together to create this fictional place.
There you go. I learned that from Scooby-Doo, and never go into the bad side of the mansion. Stay in the good side where the lights work, and things don't go bump in the night, if you will. So there you go. What are some other elements we haven't talked about that you were excited to put in the book that you think we can tease out to readers?
So I love working with secrets, in the history of people. I think people are so fascinating. You can make a house as scary as you can, but if you don't have interesting characters to take you through that house, it will fall flat. Yeah. And so it's the complexity of the characters that really makes it. And it's trying to see behind the mask people wear. Everyone has a distinct personality they have, maybe with their significant other or with their best friends or with people they don't like. And it's like, which masks are these people wearing? Are they actually friends? And it's really, really fun to peel that back and find out who is actually showing their true self and who isn't, and who is maybe, got a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. So it's really, really interesting for me as a writer to write those characters. And I like reading them too in other people's books.
There you go. Secrets and maybe a little backstabbing or betrayal in the book. Maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
In a haunted house or something, a very disturbed house.
But also, there's a balance to it because they did start as friends, all of them. So there are some very warm memories, and I think it provides a stark contrast to what's going on now in this cold, they're trapped in this house because the weather turns. So I got the idea for this. We had a polar blast one spring, and it's, New Zealand's really close to Antarctica. And so sometimes we get a polar blast coming off Antarctica and it just freezes the country, basically. So we had this one spring and the South Island got snow, like in the middle of spring, and everything shut down. And so this is what happens in this book. They end up in this unseasonable snowstorm, and so they're trapped in this place, and it's so cold and it's dark and the heating's gone, and it's a contrast to the hazy summer memories they have together as as teenagers. So it's it just shows how life can change people, and also just from a fun perspective, it's really interesting to work with weather in a thriller, because I think in a thriller, weather can make such a big difference to the feel of the book.
Mm-hmm. The what would you say the favorite part of your writing process was when you were writing it?
Ooh, I really like that initial phase of just super intense, just trying to find out what's going on, because I like to surprise myself as well. So I love that part. And so that what I call the skeleton draft, it is just the bare bones of the book, and then fleshing it out. Those two parts are my favorite, probably in even ways. That initial burst, and then they're just sitting there and intensely crafting the book so that the skeleton becomes not only a skeleton, has flesh. It has all the elements you need for a book.
Do you think you're going to stick with the thriller genre, or are you going to flip back and forth between the different genres you've written in and just kind of keep it, doing what you want?
Yeah, I like having both. Like right now I'm doing a lot of romance and also doing the thrillers, and I'm really enjoying that. And I think I will probably just keep flipping back and forth because I enjoy it. I feel like it refreshes my brain each time I do something different. Yeah. Like instead of just doing one thing the whole time, I switch, and then I get a whole new burst of energy because it's completely different writing experience. I'm doing different kinds of research. I'm working with different kinds of characters. And and then when I close the chapter 1, I move to the next one, and it's wow, this is new again. This is something different. So yeah, I'll keep doing that.
There you go. You're just moving between them all and keeping it fresh. We hear that a lot from authors like yourself that have different strains or threads going, where they can play on different ones, and then you go over here and then come back to it, and it refreshes you, fills back up your bucket, if you will. So I know you mentioned that you hope it grips readers by the throat. What do you hope readers come out with it at the end? I guess the same sort of a throat mark of the grip.
Maybe just a bit of a pounding heart because of what happened, or I think at the end, I hope it makes them think, because but in a good way. It's in the way where you wonder at the end of a movie, like, did that just happen? And then you think about it and you go back and you rewind and you rewatch it. And I hope they reread the end. It makes them want to reread the end, because there's something in there that I feel is really interesting. I don't want to spoil it, but I hope it gives them that, what did I just read? And then go back and check.
Did that really happen? Those make the best movies and plots and stuff. This sounds like it might make a great movie too.
I actually think it would make a really good movie, because it's basically a locked room mystery, except the mystery is the locked room is this house that they're trapped in. So it's got that claustrophobic feel, and it's got these people, it's very limited number of people, and one of them has done something. So it would make, I think, a very good movie, very atmospheric as well because of the location. So if there's any, producers listening to this, call me.
Please reach out. Yeah, I imagine the isolation element is a big part of it. And as you said, the being in a small space, but imagine the isolation of it. You can't call for help. You're in the middle of nowhere. You're down the deserted road.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun to play with the isolation elements, because in this case, they need medical help at one point, but there's no way to get it, because even the helicopters can't fly in that weather. Like the air ambulance can't get to you, and they're so remote that the nearest fire station is like some distance away. So even if they somehow get out a message, no one's going to get to them.
Wow.
Very quickly. So it changes the whole dynamic of what's happening, because the clock is ticking down so fast, because some people don't have time to wait for help to come. So it's really fun, and it's fun to look at a landscape and imagine not just the beauty in the daylight, but also what could happen after dark when we don't have all this technology to help us.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's been fun to have you on. Give us your final pitch out to readers, the order of the book.
If you would like to read a locked room thriller set in a beautiful, stunning alpine environment that turns dangerous very quickly, and if you like secrets and stories about friends and things going terribly wrong, there should have been 8. It's available everywhere in any format you wish to buy it. So, give it a go. And if you want to check out a bit of it without committing, there's an excerpt on my website, and the audiobook publisher usually has, like a sample of the audio on their website as well. So, give those both a go. And my website, again, is nalinisingh.com. Super easy. And I hope you check it out.
There you go, guys. Well, thank you very much, Nalini. It's been fun to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. It's been really nice talking to you.
There you go. And order up all of our other books as well, folks. Check them out. Remember, it's Christmas time coming up here. People watching this 10 years from now are going, it's not Christmas time. That's our YouTube. It's available November 21st, 2023. So you can pick it up soon and buy, 5 billion copies, give it out to all your friends and neighbors, relatives, all that sort of good stuff. There should have been 8 by Nalini Singh. Definitely order up and check out her other book. She's got quite the library. I was just going through it here on Amazon. It's quite amazing. Thanks to our audience for tuning in. Be sure to refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss one on the tickety talkie over there, and Chris Voss Facebook.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time.